Hey there, guys. We've now got the unit data for Chains of Fate Mirei, and in this video we're going to be going over her. I'm going to be giving you my brief initial opinions, and we're going to just, look at the unit. So the first thing we always look at is the categories, and unfortunately Mirei, again, does not have any categories other than the default categories, element, role, series, and Clash of Wills. But we don't have any, what's it called? Like Royal Arms, Rebellion, Blessing of the Crystals, all of that. And those become like a really big deal going forward. A lot of the new 1000% leader skills do involve special categories like, Blessing of the Crystals, things like that. So it's kind of unfortunate that most global units don't get a category. A few do, like, Richt got Gathering, Chizuru got Royal Arms, but, anyway, Chains of Fate Mirei does not have a category, a special category. As far as stats go, they're a little bit on the lower end. Only 504 base, that's 601 after pots. But she does have a lot of flat attack, so it kind of makes up for it. But it's slightly worse in terms of scaling long-term to have worse base stats. Immunities, etc., pretty generic. True Brave Shift, always nice to see. Gear selection, very, very limited. Just clothing and hats, nothing else. Now, that's not too terrible because most of the time your, physical DPS are using clothing anyway. It's one of the best for that. But, no chainmail and no helm means you can't wear the best of the best Clash gear. Kind of sucks, etc. So the forms are mostly similar. There's a few differences. We'll go over some of the basic skills. So a 150 self-amplify, pretty typical right there. Triple cast, pretty typical. Bolting and absolute for chain families. Spill morale gauge, all that is good stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, it's very good. It's just like, we're used to it at this point. But that's a good thing. It's a good thing to get used to very nice things. She fills her LB gauge. Feels good morale, so that's all wonderful to see. Double Mirage on demand for the party, also fills morale, kind of nice. It would have been nice to see a little bit more than a 2-stack on demand. I know 2-stack is pretty much the standard for on demand. It still would have been nice to see like a 3-stack on demand to like set her apart. But this is basically on par, so I can't like say anything bad about it because it's good to have. It's like, it would have been nice to see a 3-stack, but 2-stack on demand. And here's the field we knew about from the live stream. An on-demand 50% 10-turn field. That's really, really nice. That is probably the highlight of the kit, is that field. It's a 50% field, on-demand, 10 turns, very nice. Now, to nitpick again, it would have been nice to be multi-element. That being said, I do realize most of the fields at 50 or above in the future, like 70, etc., they're all single element. So I wasn't expecting multi, but just again, would have been nice to see. But it's fine. It's fine. And it's good. And again, this is probably the number one reason if you're going to pull Mirei, it's going to be for the field. Self-imbues and amplifies, pretty typical. They're on a cooldown, but she does have the white or the green magic to reapply it on demand, so totally fine there. Overall, the kit, the unit seems pretty decent, but I'll give you more of my personal opinion at the end of the video. Now, here's some stuff where I get a little bit, wishing it was AoE, because here's the single target, 400 stats and 300 LB to one target and self only. And again, it's like, these are really good skills. It's great that you have these. I just wish they were AoE. I wish they were AoE, but they're really good to have, so that's good. And here's where it gets a little more irritating. Killers, so Human and Reaper, and these are single target. They are 3 turns, and it's a 1-turn cooldown, meaning if you're setting up before the burst turn, you can keep this on 2 different units. Plus herself, so I guess 3 units totally. Because you for example, if you're bursting on turn 3, you would cast this on turn 1 and turn 2, and you obviously can't cast it on turn 3 because you're bursting. So you can only keep it up on 2 external units plus herself. So it's good, but it's that really awkward where you're either replacing a killer buffer or you're not. So, like, can this really replace a killer buffer for the party if you're fighting, like, a human boss or a Reaper boss in Dark Visions? So you're giving it to 3 units, and then on a Dark Visions team, normally you've got like 1 dedicated buffer, so you're losing it on 2 other units, as opposed to that dedicated buffer buffing the entire party for 5 units. So it's very awkward that this can only be kept up on 2 external targets plus yourself, so three in total for the party. And it's also kind of action intensive if you're doing both of these, so that you're, this is 2 out of your 3 actions per turn. So I haven't really sat down and done all the mental math of what her setup would be, but this is starting to seem a little bit awkward to use and set up. But again, I didn't really write it all out on paper. She also has a secondary 100 amplify for herself, so that's kind of nice, kind of like Rick, where she's got like a secondary burst. Aya Bray's got the same thing, etc. So, nice, but the 150 is the big one. As far as her passives go, they're fine. 6 times chain cap at EX3, chain speed. I didn't add it all together, but at an early glance, it looks like she has the stuff we're used to. I don't see. Oh, nope, there it is. I'm about to say she's a ninja, but I don't see evasion. But I just overlooked it. It's right here. She has evasion, so nice. LB damage 200. Yeah, it's all pretty standard. Yep, looks good. And then in Clash of Wills only in Clash of Wills, she has a ramping AoE 100 amplify for the party, kind of like Addison Rae. So there you go. Also arcane supplementation, which we've at this point this has become a standard buff, so very nice to have. This is her Vertex ability. I'm told the wiki team, it's not set up yet to parse these, but this is her Vertex ability we saw from the live stream, her normal attack. She can imbue on the party on demand, and then she has Bar Elytra. Always nice to see, so she can fill 30 LB gauge for the party with Bar Elytra. Kind of nice. I don't think she has quad cast. I don't think so. No, she doesn't. So she can only triple cast it. That's still pretty good. Then her base form LB, boost accuracy for the party, but that's not her good LB. So let's go to the shift form real quick. We'll look at the shift skills. There's a few of them different over here. Right here, she can grant 1 ally Karmic Vengeance for 5 turns, removes debuffs. That is the Extreme Nova granting. So only 1 person, only 1,000 modifiers. So if you heard the discussion in a different video I did on Gert's channel about this skill with Sketch, and yeah, it's bad damage. You're not gonna use it for damage, as I expected. I was right. And then here's the only other interesting skill is this one right here, Universal Absorption. So she steals all the imperils from the entire party, and then she absorbs everything for 1 turn, only to herself. Keep that in mind. So this will not help you against AoE damage, but interesting, I guess. I don't see a realistic case for this to be useful, because for one thing, she can't provoke, not by default at least. Another thing is she can't cover. So, I mean, I guess you could provoke with her like Golem or something. So there's ways to get provoked, but she can't cover, and you're not taking Emperor Fu or Rivera to Clash of Wills. So I guess this is more like a flavor thing. It's cool, but I don't see the practical application for this, because you can't protect your party, and she's very unlikely to be your provoker, especially in the shift form, which is the damage form. So you're definitely not wasting slots in the shift form. I guess you could. It's only 1 slot. Even so, it's unlikely for this to see, as far as I can tell, a specific use. But I guess that's kind of cool. But you're probably... It's kind of like Tiana. Tiana had a very similar skill that, as far as I'm aware, was never ever used in a realistic strategy that I can remember. I could be wrong here. But, yeah. So, interesting, but not going to see a lot of use as far as I can tell. And then her shifted LB is Extreme Nova, 40 Whip Peril, 535. And she's got a modifier buff somewhere in the kit. I must have overlooked it. I saw it earlier. Probably in the base form. I know I saw it. There it is, right here. Yeah, so 85 LB modifier for herself for 3 turns. So again, like I said, she's got a very tight setup of 3 turns. It's going to be a little awkward to get her set up. So you have to use this. You have to use the amp. You have to use both killers if you're fighting those races. That's a lot of actions. And then if you want to do Mirage every turn, oof. The field is tender. You can do that early. Yeah, kind of a really tight setup. But yeah. So as far as her damage, let's look at some calculations. These are early calculations. So in Clash of Wills, based on my calcs, she's actually not that high. So 720. Make sure I did this right. 720. 635 plus 85. Yeah, 720. I did it right. So 720. Yeah. So based on just my initial calculations, I will, finalize this when we get the builder updated. Not super high in Clash of Wills. Well, compared to the other 3. So yeah, and this is like on element too. Other units like Hayo do way more or Aya Brea if they're on element, but it's not Fire Week this month. But it's decent, but it's not great. Like I would expect, to be up here somewhere. Anyway, and in Dark Visions, let's scroll down. She is right here in Dark Visions, which is a little lowish, 952 compared to, some of the top ones are at. I guess it's not that much lower. A little bit lower. It's fine. It's fine in Dark Visions. It's about the same as Lightning. So it's good in Dark Visions. And there you go. So, final thoughts about Mirei. So, overall, she seems like a decent unit. The issue is just, do you want to pull for the unit right before Neovisions Plus? And that's the big decision maker here. Because do I think she will be valuable going forward into the Neovisions Plus era? So the big competition for Mirei in the Plus area would be, where is it? Bismarck and Nelica. She does a 70% field for the light party in the future. Her personal damage is not quite that good. As you'll notice, it's a lot lower than Mirei's by about 200 billion, based on the 1 defense calculations. But it's about like 15-20% lower than Mirei's personal damage. But Nelica has the 70% field for the entire party. Now, I do not know which one ends up being better. Higher personal damage for just 1 unit versus 20% bigger field for the entire party. That would require me to do math. And obviously, Mirei is probably going to be a lot better in Clash of Wills, whereas Nelica will very unlikely to be useful in Clash of Wills. Unless global changes are. They may, because they're, they update some of the units, but then again, she's not premium, so probably not. But, yeah. And then another thing is that overall, of the Neovisions Plus, elemental parties, if you're going to go in just one direction, the light party is probably one of the less appealing options because the Neo Plus units are both collaborations. It's Stern from War of the Visions, and who's the other one? Maria from Xenogears. Those are your Neovisions Plus. They're both collaborations, which you may or may not even get. And then, the big leader for that is Yuna, who's an evoker, and her damage is terrible, and she doesn't even get benefit from her fields. So, yeah, the light Neovisions Plus team has a lot of handicaps. So you might want to go one of the other directions if you're going to plan for, a long-term Neovisions Plus party, either Water or Darkness, or much further down the road, there's an Earth party that's a lot of collaborations, too, at the Earth party. That's like Saga Frontier and all that. Or, not Saga Frontier. Saga something. I don't know. It's a collaboration that I barely pay attention to in JP. Anyway. Yeah, but it's looking at the current time, based on what we know, either Water or Dark are the better options to go for in Neovisions Plus. But that could all change in the future. It's JP. It might change on Global. But as far as the unit, I personally think I'm probably going to just pass on this unit. I'm she's good, but I'm really worried that she's going to have a short lifespan. And I really do feel some heavy buyer's regret with Beryl. I pulled for, and Chow, honestly. I pulled for both Beryl and Chow, and they were wonderful in their own Clash of Wills. And I haven't really used either of them since, and honestly, probably never will. Because just what we know from the future, like, Chow gets replaced on the Water Party, and Beryl is already going to be replaced on the Earth Party. Neither one of them saw use in future Clash of Wills. Like, my plan for the current Clash of Wills is not going to use Beryl. I'm going with the Light Party. I haven't used Chow since I pulled him, even though he was a great unit. I've never used him since pulling him in any like meaningful content. Like, obviously I've shown like alternate clears in videos, but as far as my top end content, Chow's not there. Neither is Beryl. So I'm worried Mirei is going to be the same problem. Chains of Fate Mirei, yeah, her fate's going to be great. I think she's going to be great, wonderful in this month's Clash of Will. From looking at her kit and looking at the Clash of Wills early stuff, I think she's going to be great in this Clash of Wills. But what I'm worried about is being just like Tiana, Beryl, the Water Chow. Like, they're going to be great for their one fight, and then you never see them again. That's what I'm worried about. Now, Mirei may or may not happen. I don't know. It's too early to tell. She might be wonderful. Maybe people will build entire light parties around her. But I'm concerned. I have regret for pulling for Beryl. I feel like I should not have pulled for Beryl. I would have been totally fine without him. And I feel like that was just wasted lapis. And I don't want it to happen again with Mirei. So, but when I try the Clash of Wills, if I decide that I really want to get the Clash of Wills beat and I feel like I can't do it without her, I might pull. To get a win. I got to see Clash of Wills first. Anyway, I will be attempting to stream Clash of Wills tomorrow, so look for that when it goes up. See you then.